Hey, this is Jeff Rose. Welcome again to GoodFinancialSense.com. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the Roth IRA conversion. Now, if you've been by the blog, you've probably seen that I've written numerous articles talking about the Roth IRA conversion. For 2010, there was a lot of hoopla about it, so I want to make sure that my readers and my clients all knew, or somewhat knew, to see if it actually made sense for them. The big questions going forward are, is it still available? Can you still do it? What's the tax treatment? And does it make sense? And that's what I want to talk about today, to see if some of those things apply to you regarding the Roth IRA conversion. First, number one, can you still do it? Yes, you sure can. Prior to 2010, there was a $100,000 adjusted gross income limit as far as those who could actually do the conversion. So that means if you made more than $100,000 per year, you were on the outside looking in, couldn't partake. In 2010, they lifted those limits to where basically anyone and their brother can now do the Roth IRA conversion. What also made 2010 a little bit more special is that the IRS allowed a special tax treatment to where you could defer the tax payment over a 3-year period. Going forward, that is no longer the case. So please keep that in mind. In 2011, you can still do the conversion, but any tax that is owed is due in that year specifically. So you cannot defer it for a 2 or 3 year stretch. What does that mean exactly? That means whenever you convert, come April 15th of the following year, when actually you file your taxes, that's when you pay the tax on the conversion amount. Another question I get is, what is the tax I pay, or how does that work exactly, or what is my basis from the conversion? Because I've been investing in my IRA for 15 years. How do I know? The conversion, or excuse me, the tax calculation is actually pretty simple. Your new basis becomes the amount that you actually convert. So it doesn't matter how much you invested 15 years ago. What matters is what is the value today of the IRA when you convert. So let's say that you invested $10,000 inside that IRA. It's now worth $45,000. The day that you convert, if it's worth $45,000, that's how much you would add as income for the year you convert, and that will then determine what tax bracket you fall under and how much the appropriate tax will be. Pretty simple, but it's still, I would strongly suggest meeting with a tax professional or sitting down with your financial advisor just to make sure that you're clear and everyone's clear on what the tax consequence is for you, and also just see if it makes sense. Another common question I get is, how do I figure, I've got all these IRAs and 401ks, if I only want to convert some, how does that work? Remember, if you have an IRA at a brokerage firm, if you have IRA at a bank, if you have IRAs spread out everywhere, the IRS looks at all your IRAs as one. So if you're only trying to convert a small portion of that, that's okay, but the big factor that comes into play is if you have non-deductible IRAs. Meaning that if you contributed to traditional IRAs after tax, so you didn't get that tax deduction, the IRS is not going to just let you convert the non-deductible IRAs. You're going to have to pay some type of prorated tax on that amount. That, I confess, does get a little bit confusing. If you go to the blog and search Roth IRA conversion tax rules, I've got an article that kind of outlines a couple different scenarios that can walk you through to see how much you'd have to pay with those taxes. One last point on as far as the IRS and how they view IRAs all as one. Keep in mind that the other option of converting it is not just IRAs, but old 401ks or any type of old retirement account. As far as the aggregate total, the IRS does not look at the 401ks as part of that sum. So if you have some IRAs that maybe you don't want to convert and you don't want that to be used into the conversion calculation, if you have the ability to roll those IRAs back into an old 401k or into your current 401k, you can do so. Just another a neat little trick that some people may or may not know. So hopefully that's helpful. And lastly, the big question that I always get, and I've gotten this probably at least 1,000 times this past year: does the Roth IRA make sense for you? And here's the thing, it depends. That is, call that the cop-out answer, but honestly it truly, truly depends. I've analyzed several different clients who were interested in doing the Roth IRA. Many of them it didn't make much sense for them, mostly because they couldn't enjoy or couldn't actually allow the growth tax-free of the Roth to really be a benefit to them, or also they didn't have the cash to pay for the tax out of pocket. Those are kind of one of my two requirements. If you're actually going to do the conversion, you want to be able to pay the tax out of pocket. You don't want to pay for it out of the account. That basically defeats the whole purpose of doing the Roth IRA conversion. So those are a couple things to consider. If you want more information on the Roth IRA conversion, stop by the blog, goodfinancialsense.com. I've got tons of information there, and also tons of information to come if there's any latest developments on the Roth IRA conversion. Thanks for coming by, and be sure to stop by the blog and check out for more information. Take care.